They're good. They're really good. They're really well built. They're really well maintained. And for those who have been insisting the opposite of that for years now, they're looking a little foolish with a 1 seed attached to the Niners before the regular season even ends. So an unbelievable season, an unbelievable couple of years. And, I already know, I can hear it. I can feel it in the comments. It hasn't, I don't think I've seen it yet, but I can feel it coming. Somebody is about to say, well, the Niners are 0-38 when they're down 8 points in the fourth quarter. And Kyle Shanahan is 0-38 when down 8 points in the fourth quarter. And look, that's not great, but it's very normal. It's very normal. I don't know if you saw this tweet from Mike Sando, but Larry, I took a screenshot of it and I saved it for this show because I wanted to bring it up. And I was actually at a New Year's Eve party. Some drunk guy comes up to me and argues with me for a little while, and I busted this out because the first thing he said was, 0-38 when down 8 points. Kyle still can't do it. He's never won the big one. I mean, this guy's got the third most playoff wins in franchise history already, but he's never won a big one. Can't win a big game. Playoff games apparently are not big games unless it's the Super Bowl, but okay. 0-38, down 8 or more in the fourth quarter since Kyle Shanahan has become head coach. Okay, so we're going back 7 years of data points. This is from Mike Sando. All teams in football, the entire NFL, when down 8 or more points in the fourth quarter, is 98, 1,337, and 4. So all teams in the NFL where Kyle has a 0% of winning because he's 0-38. All teams in the NFL are 7%. You're down 8 points in the fourth quarter. There is a 93% chance you lose that game. Again, the entire league sucks when down 8 points in the fourth quarter.
Here's the Shanahan stat that I think is the most pertinent stat. The 2 years prior to Shanahan being here, the Niners were a combined 7-25. I would shut the fuck up about Shanahan.
Yeah.
They're 7-25.
Right.
Guess what they are this year? 12-4. Guess what they were last year? 13-4. Guess what they were in 2021? 10-7. Guess what they were in 2019? 13-3. I mean, he's been pretty good.
He turned around an entire roster in 2 years and rebuilt it on the fly, and he didn't even have the quarterback he really wanted or envisioned until this very year. And look at the success that they've had. But again, just to go back to Mike Sando again and the 0-38, all teams in football are winning at a 7% clip when down 8 points in the fourth quarter. Kansas City has the best winning percentage when down 8 in the fourth quarter, and that winning percentage is 300. They're 6-14 down 8 in the fourth quarter. Green Bay would be next at 7-34. That is a 171 winning percentage. Seattle, in the same time, down 8 points in the fourth quarter, is Seattle's 1-38. Carolina is 1-58. Indianapolis is 1-36-1. Baltimore is 2-22. Dallas is 2-37. New England with Bill Belichick, the greatest head coach in NFL history. Bill Belichick, when he's down 8 points in the fourth quarter in the last 7 years, is 3-35.
So you're saying if you're down 8 in the fourth quarter, you typically lose?
Yes. You have a 93% chance of losing that game. So Mike Sando goes on to say, so no one really wins under this scenario. So to say that Kyle Shanahan is the only guy in football who can't win under this scenario is absurd.
Well, just remember this. Remember this. Anytime somebody quotes you a stat, make them quote you where it ranks in the league. Because the stat doesn't have relevance until you can tell me where it ranks.
Right. Measure it against something else.
Exactly. Tell me where it ranks in the league. Tell me where if you want to rip Kyle Shanahan, great. Tell me where he ranks among his peers.
Right.
If you want to fire Kyle Shanahan, that's fine too. Tell me who you're going to replace him with. I mean, it's like that's the thing. We can't with the people, and you know the way it is. We do YouTube channels, and people accuse guys like us of doing shows for clicks and this and that. You're only doing it for clicks on your YouTube channel. Okay, that's fine. But if you talk about Jake Brendel and Spencer Burford, you get 17 people in the room. If you talk about the quarterback, you get more. And if you talk about the head coach, you get more. And so I think I'm not the only person who's noticed this. Other people have as well. And so they parked their car at the corner of Trey Lance Boulevard and Brock Purdy's Not Good Enough Avenue. And when that turned out to be, a huge, gigantic, colossal fuck up, then it was like, okay, wait a second. We'll pivot to Shanahan.
He can't
and
coach.
We'll kick Shanahan in the nuts every single live stream, and that will fill up the. And so this is what's going on. You've got people who take shots at Brock, but now Brock's almost unassailable. He's literally the greatest investment in their recent past. The last pick in the draft, and he's an MVP candidate. So now it's like, okay, what's going to fuel the growth of my channel? I got to kick Shanahan in the nuts 17 times this week. Otherwise, I'll be rendered talking about Kevin Givens, and nobody will be clicking. You know what I mean? So it becomes a huge let's park on the corner of Shanahan sucks, and that's a fallacy. So it's the way of the world. It's the way of the internet. I understand it. Shanahan hasn't done it yet. We get it. But he's a relatively young man in the game. He's only been the Niners. He's only been a head coach since 2017. It's not like this guy was like a 15-year head coach somewhere else. He's only been a head coach for a short amount of time. Yes, he's aged in this job, but he's still a relatively young man in the game. There's an awful lot of people in Philly that had decided that Andy Reid sucked and that he couldn't climb to the top of the mountain. In reality, it takes a great head coach and quarterback combination. And then you got to have talent around that player, but it really starts there. You start with your head coach and your quarterback. He didn't quite have the cast. He lost to some good Brady teams, and he lost once in the Super Bowl. Now he's got Brock Purdy and a really good roster and, a great chance. And we'll see. I mean, if 10 years from now, Kyle Shanahan is still walking around with no rings, then maybe people are onto something. But until then, I think you got to let it play out. If they go to the NFC Championship game, which, they're one win away from, they will have been there 4 times in the last 5 years. So everybody needs to pump the fucking brakes.
Right.
And see this guy for what he is.
The Eagles said, we got to get rid of Andy Reid when he was in 4 consecutive NFC title games or whatever it was. And they only went to 1 Super Bowl, and then Donovan McNabb threw up in the 4th quarter and blah, blah, blah. Andy Reid is a really good coach. And you should be able to recognize that until you see the picture of him holding a Lombardi trophy. Now, obviously, that's the zenith of coaching. That's what everyone is gunning for. But if you need to see someone holding a Lombardi trophy before you can even acknowledge they're good at this, what you're admitting to the entire world is you don't even know what you're looking at. You are unqualified to be someone discussing football with any gravitas or authority, or you shouldn't even have an audience if your entire modus operandi has been the 49ers during the Kyle Shanahan have been poorly run and incompetently coached. If that's where you live, good luck, because Super Bowl this year will officially have burnt your credibility to the ground forever and ever and ever. And you can never be taken seriously again. I mean, you're literally the boy who cried wolf. You're the boy who cried training camp interception. We know who we're talking about.
How about the people who decided that Brock Purdy didn't have an arm and was Captain Checkdown? I mean, if Brock Purdy's anything, we wish he was a little bit more of Captain Checkdown.
Right.
He's a riverboat gambler. He's Brett Favre.